always glad to talk to Jim Brandstatter, play-by-play man for Michigan Football Color Analyst for the Detroit Lions, and a very professional, successful athlete in his day, too. Welcome back to the program. Good to talk to you, sir.
Michael, it's always great to talk with you, too. How are you?
I'm all jacked up because my son has started classes at the University of Michigan as a freshman. Yeah. So I've been down there, a lot. And one of the comments that one of the professors made that I never thought of before is he said, "All right, parents, take a big, deep breath. You've played the college game for the last 18 months, and you've won." And he says, "Our fight song says so." He says, "Just think of it. The Victors is the only fight song that doesn't tell the team to go out and fight. It tells them, you've already won."
That's right. That's right. That's Michigan, I mean, they've already won. Just getting there, just being there is victory for everybody that's there.
I guess so. It is a very healthy club. And after 4 days of the kind of reception we've received, Harrison says to me, "This place is like Disney World."
Tell them, wait till finals come around, those midterms come around. It's going to become like
a haunted house.
I was going to say it's going to become like Disneyland for reverse.
Yeah.
You start cramming for exams and stuff. But Ann Arbor's just such a great place. It's, kids get a chance to walk across campus, the ivy, it's that typical, what you would see in a Norman Rockwell painting about what, American college life, I think, should be. That's what's beautiful about Ann Arbor.
Explain to me Coach Harbaugh now. I don't remember him being difficult with the media when he was a player. Obviously, you were around then.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember him being difficult when he was with the Bears or with Stanford, or obviously he took the 49ers to the Super Bowl. There's a lot of media involvement there. And yesterday or earlier, recently, he was on the radio on a national talk show, and very standoffish, I thought. I'm sure you've heard it by now.
Yeah.
What was going on there? What's happening?
Jim is very guarded, and I think the experience that he had in San Francisco the last couple of years has created a situation where he is just very, very guarded. The other thing, Michael, is he is so focused and intense upon his job, which is winning football games, that sometimes he comes off in the media as being a little, I don't want to say aloof, but non-responsive. Mm-hmm. Just because if he does not like the question, or if he thinks the question is getting too close to, things that he doesn't need necessarily to talk to, or isn't germane to whatever his conversation is, he'll just kind of move off to the side. Dan Deerdorf, who knows Jim pretty well, and who I work with, Dan has said on occasion that Jim, over the last few years, has become Bill Belichick with a personality. So that Belichick is the same way. I mean, when you get him and ask him a question, and it's in a press conference type of environment, he'll deflect and move on, and really won't even answer the question. And you've seen some of those questions and some of those
sure have
press conferences with Belichick. Jim is the same way, because if you get him in a corner all by yourself and you're talking with him, no one is more engaging, no one is more fun, no one is got a wonderful personality. But once you cross the line and get into, this is your job, this is football, talk about that, he just kind of turns off and becomes this, the Belichick type mode. And that's what I found he's become. I think it'll be interesting to see during the season how he does, because I think he'll be a little bit more forthcoming, because there'll be more to talk about. I mean, he hasn't coached the game yet. And people, and the other thing is, people want to know how long he's going to be there. He hadn't been there, he hasn't coached the game yet, and yet the focus of most people's questions are, when are you going back to the NFL? So I think he's just being very, very careful and very guarded with all media, and I think it's an experience that he's doing because of his experience at San Francisco, which at the end became not so pleasant.
And my question then is, if you're a recruit listening to one of these programs, or really anyone in the potential donor, advertiser, that sort of thing, how much a role of an ambassador is he expected to play?
Well, I think he's going to play a great role as an ambassador, and that's the thing that's different. Remember, when he talks to you personally, when he's personally engaged, and he's just there with you, and there's no media type thing around, he's wonderful. I mean, he's the recruits that he's talked to. If you ask these kids that are coming to Michigan, they'll tell you he is funny, he's engaging, he is a great coach, and and most parents too will tell you that they're impressed by him. He's gotten some pretty darn good recruits, and the stories have all been about how impressive Jim Harbaugh is in person when they have a conversation with him, and I would suspect that carries over into boosters, into recruits, into people who are possible donors for the University of Michigan. When he engages you personally, not in a press conference type setting, he's very impressive.
Colin Cowherd ended the interview abruptly because he got tired of one-word answers, he got tired of the silence and so forth. You've interviewing the Lions in the locker room, it has been probably the toughest job you've had, where people, maybe they're not in the mood to talk. Jim Harbaugh yesterday, after the interview, tweeted that he'll take 50% of the blame for the clunker of an interview. Was that a fair amount of blame?
I think so. I think from Jim's perspective, and again, it's you got to look at the eye of the beholder, and I think he may have felt that Colin Cowherd was trying to get to him or create a problem or go somewhere where he didn't want to go. Maybe they had pre-interview information that Jim said, "Hey, look, we'll talk about this, and this, but I don't want to get involved in San Francisco or their management or their ownership team or any of that stuff. I don't want to do that." And maybe Colin went that direction. I don't know, but if he did, Jim would have felt betrayed, and he would have kind of shut down. So that's what I mean. I think where he would say 50% of it is his fault, because if he felt that he wasn't being, the interviewee or the interviewer wasn't being fair with him. Jim's competitive now, and if the interviewer wasn't being fair with him, Jim would have shut down. And that can be, as you well know, you've done this a long time, Michael, and you're very, very good at it.
Thank you.
Sometimes some guys aren't as good as other guys. And some days you catch a guy in a bad mood or in a bad time, and it just doesn't work. And maybe that was the situation with Cowherd.
Is there a question I could ask you that you would shut down on?
I don't think so. Here's the problem, I know you, and so I know you're not gonna hang me out to dry, and that may be one of the issues that Jim had, because Colin Jimmy felt he was gonna hang him out to dry on something, so he was very, very, very guarded and very close, and maybe at one point he said, he did hang me out to dry, so I'm not going to cooperate or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, mentioning Urban Meyer probably wasn't Colin Cowherd's best move.
There you go. If you're going to do an interview about Michigan, don't talk about Ohio State.
Love you, Jim. I'll see you on campus again soon. The football season right around the corner.